Hello everybody, come on in for Vintage Wednesday. Vintage Wednesday. Kind of fun to have these little theme days that we have, aren't they? So if you want to come in and say hi, let me know you're here with me. And we're getting ready for Heidi from Joyful Artistry to pull me into the Crafty Bunch for our Vintage Wednesday event today. And the event's been going. It's going to go, I believe, all evening this evening. And everything we're going to be doing, we have to have just using vintage things, you know. So that's what we're going to do. So come in, say hi, let me know you're here with me. And we'll just wait until I see Miss Heidi come in. But I have pulled out so many special pieces here that I've got a whole array in front of me. I wish sometime I could just show you what sits in front of me here when I get ready to do my live. And you probably think, how in the world does she know anything? Hi there, hello Heidi. Thank you so much, my sweet friend. Thanks for hosting this event today. Vintage Wednesday on the Crafty Bunch here, being hosted by Joyful Artistry and our friend Heidi. And she is a doll. If you don't follow Joyful Artistry by Heidi, you better get on there and do it, because you will not regret it, ever. I have learned so much. She was one of the first ones I started connecting with when I was started doing junk journals. And I have learned so much from our little layer queen. Hi there, Cheryl. Looking forward to seeing you tonight on our private group, Cheryl. Hope you're having a good day, hon. And there's our friend Gina and my friend Valerie from up in Canada. Peggy, Peggy, Peggy. How's my sweet Peggy today? And Estella, thank you for coming in today. Thank you all. It's always so good. It's just so fun to see the names all pop up. And even though most of us have never met in person, I feel like we know each other because we meet here virtually all the time, don't we? So I'm just glad you're all here. My name is Celeste, and I'm with the Moments with Celeste is my page. So if you come in and you don't follow Crafty Bunch or Joyful Artistry by Heidi or Moments with Celeste, I invite you to do so today, because we'd like to have you as part of our little family. And there's my dear friend Sherry. How are you, sweet Sherry? Oh gosh. Valerie says hello to everybody. The color is gorgeous on you, Celeste. Thanks. Yeah, years ago, you know, when we used to do those color palette tests that they would do on you. And they definitely said that I look, you know, my best colors are the bright spring colors. So I always enjoy when spring rolls around and I can wear more of them for spring and summer. But, well, we're going to go ahead and get started. And our theme today on Vintage Wednesday is we're just to make things vintage type of projects. And the only thing that Heidi's requiring of us today is to include at least one button somewhere. Well, you know me. I will be buttoning it all over. So we're going to go ahead and get started. And I am going to go today, and I'm going to be doing some tags made out of lavenders is my color of choice that I'm going to go with today, and plums. And then I had picked up these little prints of these different, I'm going to see if I can hold them here, tag prints that we're going to work with today. Aren't those pretty? Look at those. I just love these. I thought they were so beautiful because I'm going to be doing a lavender themed journal here somewhere down the line. And I thought maybe something like this would be fun to tuck into those. So we have those, and we have all other kinds of goodies here that we're going to work on. So the first thing I'm going to do today, though, is I'm going to take, I have this plum colored tag. Hi, Martha. Hi, Diane. Welcome in. Good to have you ladies. So we're going to do this purple tag. And I'm going to take, I had a little bit of this cheesecloth. I got more than a little bit, I think, that I found yesterday when I started to panic and thinking I didn't have any. So I'm going to put some cheesecloth, I think, down on the base of this somewhere. I've got to see how I want it to lay. So we'll just kind of go with this. And I'm going to put it, I'm going to make it so, because I'm going to put a tag on top of it. So I want to make sure you can see here what's going on. Hello, Linda Martin. How are you, my friend? Glad you could come in today. And I'm going to kind of just scrunch it over a little bit. Okay. I want it to come off the edge a bit. So it kind of looks like that to start with. And then I pulled out, this is a piece of quilt batting that I've cut, and it's so soft. And I sheared it, put pinking shears around it. And what I'm thinking here is I'm going to put this on top of this little piece here. So get that glued on. It might be, let me see if it'll let me, I want to trim it down just a tad more, just so you can see more of the, just a tad though, not a whole lot. Okay. I'm going to glue this piece of quilt batting. And it's kind of a creamy color. And I think I can just probably get this to stay on with some hot glue gun. And we're going to put that in here like so. And do a little more down here. Just to make sure it stays on for me, right? Let's see, who else do we have on here? Oh, I saw Linda Martin there. Okay. I saw Linda. So there's what I've got so far on this tag. Now I'm going to take these little flippy side thingies, and I'm just going to put a little bit of glue, hot glue, on the piece of purple that's showing there on the edge. And I want to try to bring this in just to make it kind of like a little ruffle. Yeah, that will work. And we'll do it on this side too. So turn it so you can see here. And do the same thing. Just pull this little cheesecloth in just a tad. Yeah, that'll be pretty. See what I did there? Okay. Then in this little packet that I had picked up, it has, oops, I don't want to get my pretty little ribbon stuck on the glue bottle. Have these little like stamps, prints that were in the purples. So I thought I'd go ahead and use a couple of them here on this. But I think what I'm going to do with it is I'm going to cut, I think I'm going to glue it on the brown. And I could just do that with my glue stick. And that way it'll make them a little sturdier. Okay. Stick it on here. And we'll do this one here, I think is the one I'm going to do next on it. I love it when I get little the prints that have stamps, make them look like stamps. They're kind of fun. They just add kind of a nice little touch to things. I use them in journals and, of course, here on the tags, but other things I've done them on pockets. Okay, then I'm going to come through now, and I'm going to cut with my pinking shears, because, you know, I want it to look stampy. I went and got my glasses tightened up last week, And it worked really well for 2 days, and now they're sliding back down my nose again. Okay. So let's get out the good old Distress ink and do a little bit of distressing around the edges here. Let's see how that turns out. Isn't it cute? I think they're so cute. I've had a busy week, and I know a lot of you have too, because I've been on a couple different, so I think this is my third different event that I've had this week already. It's just Wednesday, but I don't do any tomorrow or Friday or Saturday. And then I'll be back on a Sunday afternoon at 4. But we had, my niece came and she stayed here a couple of nights. And then today we had our Lori's big review that she has to have done. They usually do it about every 3 or 4 years, so we had to do that today, our assessment and all that good stuff. So that was fun. Okay, now I'm going to take my little dauber and I'm just going to put some little more aging look on this cream colored quilt batting. And then I'm going to take and we're going to glue this on. I think I want this there, and I want to see here before I start that I have a button that I know I wanted to use on this, and if I can find it here I will use it. Here we go. Okay, so I'm going to put one right up in here, and then we'll glue the other one below it with a little bit of a gap. Okay, just like that. And glue it down. Okay, so there's what we've got so far. Okay. And then I have this vintage button that we're going to put in between them. It's kind of a gray color. Hi, Lori. And Patsy, how are you, my friend? Hope everybody's having a good day. I like this button because it has a gray, but it almost has like a granite feel to it. So let me show you that. See that? And then up here at the top, let's see, I have this little piece of tatted trim, and I'm thinking I'm going to put, maybe glue this up here across the top. It's old. This is an old vintage piece of tatting, and I may not even put it on there because it may not be the right spot for it, but I can put it here at the bottom. Let's try that. Oh, I tell you, I admire anybody that knows how to do tatting. I think that has to be a very time-consuming little hobby. Okay, I'll trim off my edge. Okay. And then I have this vintage seam binding in a cream color. And I'm going to, I think I'm going to just, on this one here, that's all I'm going to use is the cream color. I love this. I don't know, I picked it up somewhere along the line. And I'm going to make it, I want it to be kind of a full little tassel. So I think what I'm going to do here is I'm going to do about 4 loops. I think that'll work. We'll see. And if I string this up in through that hole, if I can get it all through, let's see here. Put it through my hole. And I only want the front part to come out. I don't want the whole thing to come through. Okay. That worked. I've got it weeded through both of there. And then I'm going to come up and I'm going to tie a knot, I hope, with it. I don't know if I left myself much room to do that. But we'll see. We'll see what we can do. That's what I might need to do here. I am not a good tassel maker. I'm just going to say it right now. I am not. It's never been my forte. Just hasn't. But let's see. I don't know that I'm going to like it that way. Yeah, let me try something else. Let's just go up and do a couple pieces of it. Try it like this. There we go. Isn't the purple pretty? I know. I fell in love with it too. Hello, LaBelle. Welcome in. I fell in love with it too. Oh, there we go. Much better, Celeste. Then pull it through. What was I thinking before? I wasn't, I guess. Okay. There, I've just made a slip knot there. And then I'm going to take this, not as bushy as I'd like it, but it'll be just fine for this purpose. Okay, so we've got that, flipping up there. And then I want to think here, if I want to put a little something, I might put another little button up here. I don't want to put that purple one. That little white one would look cute sitting there. Now if I have a pearl color, that would be my preference. Let's see what we've got here. You never know what I pull out. Let's see. Reach into my white one. Yeah, oh yeah, I could. That's right. Yep, I easily could have done that. Just glued it together. Oh, now this will be cute. Look what I just pulled out of my button container. A tiny, tiny, tiny. Has a little grunge on there. That would be really cute to put that up here. Oh, isn't that sweet? It's so sweet. All the things that you don't plan, that's what I love about doing what we do here. Okay, and it's going to go right, fits perfect into that little spot. Okay, then maybe we can find, if I want a little pearl on there. I just love, yes, oh how sweet. That turned out. Don't you just love it when you just sit and you just pieces, you just pull them out and they fall together? Okay, there's that tag. See what I did there? The tatting at the bottom. Started out with the cheesecloth here. And then these old vintage looking little stamps, and then this little vintage doily, and the trim, and the buttons. So there we go. There's that one. Now, the glue, glue stringing all over me, ladies. Okay, now we got that one done. Let's go and do one of these little pretties and see what we can come up with. I think I'll go with, my gosh, that glue is really stringing. Let's try, I think I'll go with, I really thought, I love this one too. Isn't that pretty? So I'm going to take, and we're going to use my glue stick again here. But anyway, we had a really busy, not that much. Couple of days, but I gotta tell you guys a story. This was a God thing, if ever there was a God thing. Okay, so I had purchased a new Android tablet about 6 weeks ago, and I had started getting it set up, and then I set it aside, and I used it once, maybe since then, or twice. And one night, Lori was here, and she wanted to know where my tablet was. So I told her it was in my bedstand. And so she went in and got it. And then all of a sudden, John goes into a little mode of saying he really needed a tablet. Okay. So I said, we can share my tablet, because I'm just going to use that. Maybe at times, the reason I got it was because I'm thinking I'm going to use it for my lives, because it's the bigger screen. And so now this is 2 weeks ago. No, it's longer than that. It's been about 3-4 weeks ago. And so she takes it over to John, and then, he puts it. I didn't know whatever happened with between the two of them after that point. Well, they both had said that last time they had seen it was on my counter in the kitchen, because when they got through working with it, Lori said she thought she put it up on the counter. So I have been looking, and John has been looking, and Lori has been looking now. For 2 weeks, I haven't been able to find my tablet. And I was just sick, because we also have had in that time period 3 different people that came in for different reasons. And, you hate to think anybody would take something like that. But they, the maintenance man was here, and then the office manager, and these are all times when we were at home, had come in, and then there was somebody else that comes in and does stuff. And so I had, ooh, this will be pretty on this. Look what I'm going to put on there for the top. We literally, because we just live in a 2-bedroom apartment. We don't have a big house. And so for 2 weeks, we have dug. And I can't tell you how many times we have dug. We have dug more than anyone should dug. And so then when my niece came over, Mary Ann, she's 26, has lots of energy. She says, I'm going to search everywhere for you as well. And so she started in my bedroom. She even took the mattress off the bed to see if it had slid under there somehow. She, everywhere. Then she even came into my craft room and went through and looked between every little bin, every little everything. Nope. So I was just so upset with myself for having that happen. And so we just, knew that somebody had taken it. So yesterday I went to T-Mobile, and I got that button on crooked. It's going to drive me nuts. My niece and I went to T-Mobile, and of course I didn't insure it, you guys. Dumb me. And so they couldn't even do a tracker or nothing with it to see if they found where it was at. And so then we came home, and it was going to cost me $230, so I had to pay off the tablet, and then for them to discontinue the service for that device. And so we came home, and last night about 7 o'clock, one of my good friends, who's a real prayer warrior, I will tell you, she always has been, called, and I told her about this the other day, and she said, Celeste, she says, do not turn that off, and do not discontinue your service. She says, God, I have prayed for that, and God has just assured me just today that He's going to open your eyes to where that is at. And I am sure it's there. And so I thanked her, and everything. So then we go to bed last night about 10 o'clock, and my niece comes busting in and knocking on my door, our bedroom door. I said, yeah. She says, Aunt Celeste, look what I found. Look what I found. You guys, She was sleeping on my couch, and she had dropped her eyeglasses, and her eyeglasses had fallen back behind the end table that sits between the couch and the recliner. And so she had to pull the end table out, and she crawled back because they'd fallen back. And as she reached back there behind the recliner, she said she saw a little shadow looking thing that looked like a wolf, which my case had a wolf on it. And she says, oh, could that be? Could that be? That is where it had fallen, you guys. God opened Mary Ann's eyes to exactly where it's at, because where it was sitting, we would have never known until we got ready to move from this place. Because John had an ottoman in between the chair and the wall by his recliner. And so when he evidently that night was looking at it, he had set it down. And somehow it had gone right up flush to that ottoman on the back side against where the wall's at. And it was standing flat up. So when she went back to look behind the thing, she saw a piece, just a little bit of that. And we had been looking for that for over 2 weeks. Now you tell me, my God cares about everything, don't he? He sure does, because he knew that we were worried sick about this. So this button is driving me crazy because I got it on crooked, but I just had to share that little story to just remind all of us how God cares about the details. He sure does. And so, anyway, oh, we were just, that girl, she got the biggest hug from her Aunt Celeste that she's ever gotten in her life. So, anywho, that was the story. That's my story probably for a long time. Okay, now we're going to go back again. Putting the button in there, because this one has a shank. Okay. There we go, much better. Then I have this, okay. Then I have this vintage doily, little one. And I'm thinking it's going to absolutely, Martha and Angie, God is so good, doesn't he? He does, he cares about those small things that we always think we have to only can pray about, if somebody's dying or something like that. But no, he cares about all of it. He cares about all of it. And he knew how concerned we were, and what concerns us concerns him. And I'll tell you, my niece Mary Ann, she just was so thrilled. Because if she hadn't dropped her glasses, which I'm sure when she did it, she wasn't thrilled that she dropped her glasses back there behind that and had to pull furniture out at 10 o'clock at night. And that's exactly where it was at. So, I'm a happy girl today. Okay, so there we've got that piece on there. Then let's take some, let's see, we've got some, what else do I want to sit on top of this? I have so many pretty pieces here. I can take, we could put this button in the middle. I don't want that, that's too many buttons. Now I got these out too, because I just didn't know what these would look like. These brass pieces, these old vintage, here's an old money clip, and I have this old piece of vintagey, okay? So what if we take this, let's just see what that would look like down here. It might not be the right size. So if I put a little bit of cheesecloth behind that, or a little bit of my vintage Chanel, not Chanel. What was it that they used to say on Laverne and Shirley? Chanel. Hudson Pepper Incorporated, I think it was. So let me see where I want to put on this. I do have some of this from the Chanel, that I like to make my clusters. I wonder what it would do if I put a cluster of pink in here. It might be too heavy. Maybe if I trim it down a little bit. And let's see here. Maybe make a little middle of a flower rose with that. That would be something really different. I think I'll do that on this one. Did you call? Oh, you are not kidding me. I called Lori Beth right away, and she had her phone off, so I left her a message, and I called my friend, and she's always in bed by 8:30 because she gets up like at 5, and I left her a message, and Lori Beth called this morning. She goes, Mom, before I went to sleep, I prayed that God would help you find that. So her and Brenda both had been praying about it. So we definitely believe in prayer in our family. We've seen way too many times where where God has just worked all things out. Okay, so we've got that, and that just makes it look like a little rose there. Isn't that kind of fun? And then down here on the bottom, I can put something vintagey. What do I have? I have this pretty vintage lace trim here. I lost my brand new Samsung tablet that I only bought 6 weeks ago and had only used 2 times. We had lost it, and we have looked everywhere for 2 weeks. It was probably the biggest search I've ever done in my life. From our bedroom all the way to the craft room on the other end of the apartment. And so then my friend said, well, did you put away your winter theme decorations and stuff recently? And I said, yeah, I did that. I don't know if the timing was right, but she says, well, then tomorrow, if you don't find it, if it doesn't come open before then, go check all of your bins in the garage. Well, you can know how excited I would have been to have done that. Okay, so there's this cute little tag. The little vintage doily and the vintage chenille that I had dyed pink, and the little vintage lace and the little vintage button. Now these would look cute, I think, to also have something sticking up out of the top, but let me see what I could come up with here. Let's take this piece of cloth. Kim's in the house. Oh. Yes, we had checked the sofa. We have a sofa and a love seat. We had checked the sofa. We had pulled all the cushions. We had gone down inside all the way around on both of them. We had pulled them even out. And my niece even got underneath yesterday or the day before, underneath the sofa, and pulled it out all the way to get it underneath it. I'm not kidding you. We had looked everywhere. Everywhere. And there it was. This. If she hadn't dropped her glasses, we would have never found those. Okay, so I'm going to put this little piece of up here to kind of make it stick up a little bit. And seriously, because that it's like a little table that John just uses for where he puts all of his stuff at. And he we would have never thought, because, you know, we looked, the top of it was cleaned off, it was up flush against the wall. We didn't think anything about that it'd be back on the very back and between the back wall and standing straight up like a little skinny thingy. Okay, well, there's a fun one. Look at that one. Do you guys like making tags? I'm going to use these. That looks almost like an angel. It does, doesn't it? It does. Okay, the next one I want to do, I'm going to see here what we've got. And look at this paper here that came in with this purple packet that I had picked up. Isn't that cool? It was a book page that somebody had spritzed with, it looks like dyes. So pretty. Okay, I want to do something with this one. Look at this pretty little card that also came with it. Okay. So I thought this one would be fun. I had another little purple piece. I thought this one would be fun to kind of put it on here. So it'd be like that on the back. And then like this on the front. I think making tags is so relaxing, Lori. I just do. And then we can look and see about maybe coming around and doing some lace trim around the back. But let's get this put on. These little violets, can you see that? Isn't that pretty? Okay. Song came to my mind that we used to sing in church years ago, and it was, "My God is so big, so strong, and so mighty. There's nothing my God cannot do." Nothing. You can even find an iPad when you lose them. Okay, center that on here. Then I'm going to come in, of course, and we're going to ink her up, ink her up. I love those that you had made your little, were those pocket tucks, Heidi, that you did the pink and the blues? They just look so soft. Or was it a tag? I got in about halfway through on yours, and I just thought, gosh, those are so soft looking. They were beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful. Okay, so we inked her up. And then let's see, how do we want to play around with this one? So this one I'm envisioning, I think these will be too big and too purple. So I'm probably going to have to use those. I can take something like this at some point. I'm going to cut this one apart because it's a squares. But let's see, what do I want to put behind? I do have this pretty, that would be pretty. Oh yeah, and I like what that does on the back. Let's just take a strip of this on each side. My Sunday school class still sings that. Do they, Kathy? Isn't that cool? I remember we sang it. I'm trying to think if we sang it. I don't think it was when I was in children's church, but I think it was like maybe when my kids were little, because we used to work in children's church a lot. And they, "My God is so big, so strong, and so mighty." Okay, so then let's take these little pieces here of this little vintage lace here. Isn't that pretty? Heidi does gorgeous. Oh, Heidi does, Lori. Everything Heidi does turns out gorgeous. Okay, so that will go there. And that way you'll just extend this and make this a little bit bigger of a pocket tuck maybe. Heidi was one of my, I said this at the beginning, she was the one that really got me going, inspired on how to do a junk journal, because I had never heard of such a thing in my life. Because at that time, before that, I was just watching, like, I watched a lot of Barb on the Shabby Tree, you know. That's who really got me introduced to Facebook, because I had no idea all of you peeps were out here roaming around. Oh, gosh. Yeah, I discovered it during that COVID time frame when we were all stuck in our houses for so long. Okay, so this one I'm going to put this way. And it's going to go about right there. And I didn't cut it long enough. How did I do that? Hang on, ladies. Needs to go from there down to here. Tell you, those Sunday school songs, they sure do stick with you for a lifetime, don't they? Oh, gosh. They sure do. It's always hard to figure out which one's the right side on these things. Okay, I think it's right here. Okay, that's better. That's better. Now Really's looking like an angel. But I'm envisioning this. Oh, see, I did it again, you guys. There we go. Isn't that cute? And if I wanted to, I could even put one at the bottom, but I don't think I will. I think that'll be too much. Maybe. But wouldn't that be cute if you had it like something like this and you put this on the bottom and did it on a cover of a journal? That'd be pretty, wouldn't it? Okay, and then for up here, let's go with, let's see. I don't really care for that. The white's going to go well with that. Let's do a mixture of white. I've got this purple lace. I love the color of this purple lace. All right, we'll put two of these together. Come down and do our thingy again. And poke her through. Okay. That's a pretty little combination. You can probably shorten this up a little bit. Okay. There we go. There's that one. With this little funky little blingy or swingy bingies up there. So there we go. We've got 3 done. Let's see what we have next. The next one I want to try this. Let's see here. I've got this one and I've got this one, but this one I think is pretty too. They're all pretty. Look at that. But I was wondering about one of my belt buckles. If I could make it be a focal point on this. I think that'll look really kind of cool. Thank you, Valerie. Thank you for the hearts, everybody. Sunday evening is our vintage friendship journals on a journey, or vintage journals on a journey, and so I'm on the vintage team, and Heidi's on the vintage team too, and we will be on. I usually kick it off, and it's the 4th Sunday of the month is when the vintage team is on. And I will be kicking it off at 4 o'clock Central Time. And then it goes all the way through the evening with all there's 6 of us. Everybody gets an hour. So I'm looking forward to getting back and digging into that some more. Let's see here. Okay. All right. Let's get the edge garnished on that. Isn't that pretty? The colors on this were so vibrant. Hello, Boom. How is Boom today? How are you, my friend? Hope you're having a good one. Seems to be a pretty good day, I think, for most of us. Okay, I'm going to do that. Then I'm going to take this and put this over here. And I do have up here, I think I'll do another button maybe on this one, but let's see. First I want to do the center point. That's going to be that silver metal. And I'm going to put it right here so that you can see the roses through it. And then I'll figure out here how I'm going to glue her on, right? Love to try all kinds of different vintagey. Boy, do I love going and doing my curating. Let's see if that'll work. Maybe, maybe not. Okay. Press her down good. Okay, I think it's going to hold. So we're going to do that there. See how you can just see the rose peek through that grate? This will be a different one, won't it? And then let's see, I have this doily here. And I have several different things here. Look at this pretty. You see that? Oh, it's so pretty. That might be a good one to add down here at the bottom. It will, I do declare, it will. I'm going to butt it up right against that buckle. And we're going to make it so that it's going to hang down and it's going to extend the tag. See there? All right. This looks like this was probably off of an old bed skirt. Crinkle it a little bit there. Give it a little skirt. Okay, so there's what we've got on that. And then up here at the top, I'm debating, I think I'm going to put a little bow. Let's do the bow in this color too. I'll have this all gone before I'm done with my tags, won't I? My mom's favorite colors are purple and green. Were they, Diane? That is so sweet. When I was a teenager, my bedroom was lavender. Yep. That's probably why I'm looking at this lavender now. I'd forgotten about that until I just now thought of that. Mine was lavender. My sister did hers in a lime green. Back in this, probably late, like 69 or 70-ish. 71 maybe. Okay, so we got that to put there. And then I'm thinking I want to cut a piece of the doily out. And let's see. I like this little trim here that we have. But I'm thinking that's going to be too big, and it will be. If it was smaller, I would put that there. But let's just keep looking and seeing what I can find. I do have this kind of a grungy button. Okay, let's put the little bow on here first, and then we'll see what we need to do. What were the colors of your bedroom when you were a teenager, people? People, tell me. Your favorite bedroom color. You had a red, white, and blue bedroom. Cool, Capri. That's awesome. When John and I first got married, we had a little room that my uncle and aunt gave us a bunch of old furniture, and it was a metal frame stuff, and we sprayed the carpet in there was red shag. This was back in '76. See, the bicentennial year. That's when we got married. My wedding the theme was bicentennial colonial style of my wedding. And my mom had a ball with that wedding, let me tell you. She had so much fun. Helping figure out things that she thought would look good, and it was fun. Yeah. So then after we got married, so we had a room that we did in red, white, and blue. It was fun. Yours was all white, Valerie? Oh, wow. And Peggy's was lavender? Ah, fun, fun. Okay, now I can take this pretty little purple tiny button, and we'll just stick it up here. In the middle of this one. That way it's not too big. Okay, there's what we've got on that one so far. Just different, isn't it? Very different. My bedroom now is dark red, dramatic and soothing. I bet. Like dark red or like a rust red. Oops, last I put this stuff on. Like a dark, deep red, like maybe a cherry red. No. What color of red would you call it, Capri? What color would you call it? Okay. I love, people, you know, have asked me, they asked me what my favorite colors are. I cannot tell you a specific favorite color that I have because I love all the colors. I just do. Anything you put in front of me, I'm going to love it. Close to burgundy wine. Oh, I bet that is nice. Wallpaper, let's see, is it Mavro Crafts? Mavro Crafts, hi, I don't think I've ever met you before. Wallpaper, one side had striped purples and the other side was, I can't remember. And then when we started stripping the wallpaper off, I'm saying that this room must have belonged to a crazy person. And I told my sister that she can't have it because you two are the same. That's funny. Oh my gosh. I tell you, it's the things that can happen, right? When you pull wallpaper off, you're never going to know what you're going to have behind there. Okay. Then I think to finish this piece here, I'm going to take a little bit of this vintage rickrack that's kind of aged, and I'm going to put it down here, and we're going to put this contrast on top of the neutral contrast. Let's see here. Okay. All right. So there's another one done. That's that one. So we already done one. Time flies when you're having fun. There's 4 of those done. Now let's see if there's anything else that I wanted to make sure that I got to here. Look at this, you guys. Look at this gorgeous vintage hanky that someone had given me. Isn't that pretty? Jewel colors, yeah. I have paint samples on the walls of my kitchen now trying to decide its color. Oh, it's fun. It's fun when you get to pick out your own paint color. You don't get to do that here in apartments, but we've had good old tan beige for a long time. Now this one here, so look at this one. This is lilacs. So look, I'm just thinking out loud here. I could cut this because I am going to cut this. I'll be using this for different things. But I'm thinking what I can do, let's get this put on. Where are we at? Okay, we got 7 minutes here. Then when I got to be in high school, my bedroom, I had white walls. I had white walls with a black, real crazy black and white, crazy print bedspread. And then I had white, or no, it wasn't white, it was the clear and bright red and black beads all over my windows. And then we had some, there was one of the walls that we did a black with some red on it that matched it. I thought it was pretty cool myself. I thought it looked pretty cool. Okay. I gotta switch out daubers here after this tonight because I saved the paint cards. Jill says she saves the paint cards. They make great tags. They do, don't you? Because I sometimes go in and pretend I'm paint shopping, just saying. And I grab a couple samples myself and use them for that. They also are good if you cut them into little squares, Jill. You could do those like in your some of your journals you make for your kids. All those different colors. Okay, so this one here we're going to go with. Sounds like you were a hippie chick. I tried. I thought, you know, I wore bell bottoms and elephant bottom pants. I wore halter tops, much to my mom and dad's chagrin. And I had long hair parted down the middle, and my hair when we got married was down to here. My hair was always my natural color. My hair was always dark brown, and it was wavy. And so, yeah, I always wanted to try to style it up, I guess. Okay, so I really want to put some of this pretty hanky on here. So let's take this. I just got to figure out how much I want to do. What if I go one side? That would be cool. That would be cool, I think. So if I cut it here, just on one side, cut it across here, come up here to the top. Yeah, I was my mom and dad's real problem child. I put them through a lot in those teenage years. I sure did. Sure did. Look back now and I wish I wouldn't have been so hard on them. But, okay, so let's just make this a border on one side. And then what I'm going to do, I think, is put a little bit of a white. Let's see, do I want to put any rickrack on this one? There's a little piece of this. Oh, this would be fun. I'm just going to put some of this on it. This is some of it off of that quilt batting, a piece. So we'll glue this on. It's going to cover the back on this one though, so yeah, I was that middle child, and I don't know, I just had to, always wanted to have fun. At any expense, almost, not quite, but almost. Okay. Let me get this even on. Want the back to be where it needs to be too. What am I doing here? Okay. Okay. I'm going to put it over here. That isn't going to be right. Hang on a minute. Celeste, what are you doing? Ah! Why is it that sometimes the simplest things are the hardest things? Okay, I think we'll go that way. Just put it on the back piece there. The time, got a couple more minutes. Hopefully I'll get this done before you have to jump off. Okay, press it down. It's not quite what I wanted. That's not what I wanted. Okay. There we go. Oh my gosh. Christy, I felt your pain there, girl. I don't know if you're still on here or not. You just never know what's going to cause you to have a little problem, do we? Then I'll go around here and I'm going to trim this up here. And then on the back of it, I'll probably put some brown paper sack. For right now, that's what that back looks like. And then we got that, okay? So then I'm going to do that one piece, if I can. Oop, it just fell on my lap. Put that one piece here. Yep, I was a hippie child. Celeste, we grew up in the Jesus Revolution area. Yep, we sure did. Yep. Sure did. Used to go to lots and lots of concerts. They used to have a lot of, the churches used to do a lot of teen music concerts for teens and things that I always enjoyed. And you know what? It's time for me to go. If you're watching on the Crafty Bunch, swipe it and go to the next one. It's going to be Danette. And I want to thank you for spending some time with me today, okay? Love you all. Bye-bye.